Picture this. You're on board a cruise ship. It's 8 p.m. and you've just finished an incredible dinner, and you're debating whether to hit up a show, get a tattoo, or just grab a cocktail and catch some live music. There's no kids running around and no one asking you to go to the kids club, looking for ice cream or other trivial activities that you're not interested in. It's just adults actually enjoying themselves. And let's be honest, when most people think cruise, too many of them think about crying kids, buffet lines, awkward forced activities, and let's not even forget the hot tub child situation. But that's not the kind of cruise we do.
Ahoy, sailors, and welcome to Ship Talk. We're here to talk about all the kinds of cruising that's actually designed for adults who want to relax, indulge, and maybe not have to deal with kids for a little bit.
Ahoy, y'all. I'm Ross. I'm a second generation travel advisor and a proud Virgin Voyages Gold Knot first mate. Travel has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I actually grew up on a sailboat, and that early love for the ocean turned into a lifelong passion. I still sail today whenever I can. Being on the water feels like home, and that connection is a big part of why I do what I do. On a personal side, I'm a dad of two amazing adult kids, and I'm married to my incredible Irish lass Dee, who might pop in from time to time for a guest appearance. And I can't forget my biggest fans, the puppies, Charlie, Rosie, and Dolly, who will probably make a guest appearance in cameos once in a while. And they are full of energy and fun.
And I'm Jen, your cruise bestie. We are both travel agents specializing in adult-focused cruise experiences. So specifically Virgin Voyages, Celebrity, and Princess Cruise Lines. We started this podcast to show that there are so many other ways to cruise beyond the traditional experience that you may have had in the past and hated.
So let's talk about some things that we like to cover. Traditional cruise experiences focus on family-friendly cruises. Luxury cruises are more of a yacht experience, a much smaller boat that's highly exclusive that a lot of people just can't afford. But we're going to show you something somewhere in the middle. Kid-free, high energy, ultra luxurious with and on what I think are four of the best ships around.
That's what Ship Talk is all about. And we're going to be diving into things that matter. Things like honest reviews, our tips and tricks, our favorite ships, where to eat and where to skip. Pretty much anything that you might need before you get on board.
And while we love Virgin Voyages, we're not here to sell it. Virgin sells itself. There are things I don't like. There are things that, Jen, you said you don't like, and we'll get to those. But as a cruise line and experience, I think it's top notch. And what do we mean when we say adult-focused cruising? We're not talking about pineapples and loofahs. Let's get that out of the way up front. I just want to put that on Front Street.
Definitely not that kind of adult. We're talking about cruise experiences designed for people that are 18 and older, sometimes 21 and up, depending on the cruise line. Think sophisticated dining, craft cocktails, late night entertainment that's actually entertaining and not cheesy, and spaces you can actually hear yourself think.
Virgin Voyages is my favorite cruise line. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hide that. Things that I love about Virgin are it's kids free. And because it's kids free, all those decks and people that were there to service children aren't. Instead, that space and those people are there to service us, the adults, the customer, the stakeholder in the entire experiences. And there's other cruise lines that do a great job at this as well. There's the adult levels of Celebrity and Princess and Royal. But those are adult levels in almost a ship within a ship. Whereas on Virgin, the whole ship is a ship within a ship.
Virgin's my favorite too. You can tell by all of my ridiculous merch. But
Did you say
I also
swag?
spend merch. It's merch.
Merch.
But I also spend a lot of time on Celebrity and Princess because the experience is as close as I can get without being adults only. So if I am traveling with friends who maybe want to bring their kids or have some older children that aren't old enough for Virgin, but they're old enough to not be screaming on the pool deck, I'll go on one of those just because the experiences are comparable to the experience on Virgin. But let's back up a bit. How did we end up talking on the internet about cruise ships?
That's a really good question. So Jen and I are both Gold Knot first mates with Virgin, and we are with a travel agency called Gone Again Travels, and that's where we kind of bumped into each other. We both sell our own brands, Cruising with Jen, Cruising with Ross, Traveling with Ross, and we started talking. And for myself, over the years, I've sailed on over a dozen ships across 4 different cruise lines, explored 3 continents, and experienced most of the Caribbean. Those real firsthand adventures allow me to help my clients with genuine insight, not just recommendations, but personal experience that shapes every trip I plan. I love doing adult travel. I think it's super easy and super fun. From the people that are traveling for the very first time as a solo and singles as well, and there is a difference there that we'll get into, to couples that want a romantic getaway, and of course, groups where it's anywhere from 4 to 25 to 50 people that all have the same idea of going on the same cruise and they want to go together. And let's be honest, I've done the Orlando theme parks and I have nothing bad to say about them. They're just not my jam. I'm someone who works hard and wants to play hard, and hopping on a ship gives me that perfect balance of both.
My love for cruising started in high school when I took my first Mexican Riviera cruise on a Carnival ship called the Splendor. And once I had adult money, I started cruising more, but really hated the cruise experience of a traditional cruise line. And then I became a travel agent. I discovered Virgin Voyages around COVID and have become completely obsessed, clearly, ever since, starting to venture out more into the high end cruise lines these last couple years, and wanted to see if I would like it. And I did. So it's not just a Virgin thing. It's definitely a cruise thing if you're scared of trying cruises. Virgin, for example, is edgy and modern. Celebrity is sophisticated and innovative. And Princess is classic but elevated, especially the newer ships. So this brought me around to starting my own YouTube channel and sharing my experiences and create my nice little corner of the internet where I can travel and show you all guys how you can do it too. I started to
And
realize that there wasn't a lot of content focused on adult experiences. Most sprinkle in family friendly things like the parks or Royal Caribbean or Carnival or any of the other family friendly cruise lines. And that's just not for me. That sounds miserable. So I wanted to create content for people like me that don't want to watch the other garbage and just want to watch experiences that they're actually going to enjoy.
well said. And it's important to understand, I think, for everyone that wherever you want to travel to, I'm going to help you get there. I have plenty of clients that they're not up for Virgin, and that's okay. And there's things I love about every cruise line. And I have to say, Jen, my first cruise also, Carnival. Um, so
We all
I
start
get it.
somewhere.
We all start somewhere, right? And I will not say a bad thing about them. I have people who absolutely love Carnival, and that's great. That is their aligned cruise ship. Perfect. And then I have clients who only want Virgin. That's their aligned cruise ship. And my wife, for example, she loves Virgin because she does not want to deal with kids on vacation. And I totally respect that and get that and really like that.
Yeah, and I work with a lot of clients that start out with Virgin and then they eventually get comfortable and want to branch out to other things and try other things. So just because we specialize in Virgin doesn't mean if you do want to work with us, we can't book you on Royal Caribbean or Norwegian or any of those other cruise lines. We definitely can. We just have our favorites and we're going to help you find what is right for you.
Okay. So one of the things we're going to do is just talk about every possible thing on this podcast about cruising, from why people cruise, to staying safe when cruising, to picking apart restaurants, to funny jokes that go on just on Virgin. There's always the joke, did you check the buffet? Because there are no buffets on Virgin. Um, and so there's little things like that. You're not going to go on a duck hunt on Virgin, although there are ducks. It's not a big duck hunt cruise. Um, Conversely, you are going to meet the most inclusive crowd you could imagine on a Virgin ship. And when I mean inclusive, I mean every color, politically, socially, that you could imagine on the ship, and everybody's there to have a good time.
We're also going to tackle practical things that maybe don't get enough attention in other videos you may be watching. So things like solo cruising, working remotely, because I do that a lot as a travel agent. I am full-time freelancer and travel agent. I am constantly working on the ships. So I'll let you know my tips and tricks, what I do when the Wi-Fi just doesn't work, which is very often, and how to maximize your experience on a cruise ship, whether you're going on a budget or you're ready to splurge and just go ham all over the place.
So other things we're going to do is we're going to take point counterpoint. For example, there's a restaurant on Virgin called the Test Kitchen, and it's one of my favorite restaurants, and Jen doesn't like it. And that doesn't mean it's
Mm-mm.
a bad restaurant. It's just not your cup of tea. And I fully respect you for not liking it because I've had nothing but wonderful experiences there. That being said, we're very strategic. We always make sure if we're going to go there twice, we go at the beginning of the cruise and the end of the cruise because the menu repeats in 3 or 4 day cycles. And then it flips to a new menu every 3 or 4 days. But there's something for everything on Virgin, which is awesome because the galley can be a sit down restaurant if you know how to do it, as an example.
And having these discussions of, me versus Ross is really helpful because we both see things so differently on our experiences. Like, even though I don't like test kitchen personally, all of my friends that I travel with love it. So I hear from them the good and the bad. I personally experience the bad because I am picky. So I can tell you if you're a picky eater, we're skipping that restaurant altogether. But I'll help you plan all of the rest of your dinners so you know which ones are worth going to as a picky eater. I say picky, I'm just not adventurous. So I can give you both perspectives. The other thing we're going to be talking about is drink packages and bar tab if you're going on Virgin because there's no drink packages. Also, sailing sober.
Is there a drink
Eh,
package? Is there not a drink package? They've test drove it several times.
I wish they would make it a thing because that would have been lovely. But I also just had an experience where I was half sober and my other friends were sober on the entire 8-day sailing. So we'll talk about the options for anyone that doesn't drink. You don't have to worry about going on a cruise and not drinking. It is not a huge thing unless you're going on a party cruise. So if you're not doing that, we've got tips to help you get through it. We're also going to compare the different cruise lines and show the differences of Virgin, Celebrity, Princess, all the other ones, so you can make an educated decision on which one is the best for you.
And there's other things within every ship. For example, finding the right style cabin. Is a balcony worth it? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. What's it like when someone gets sick? Because every cruise line handles it differently. And I don't mean just, an upset stomach. I mean seriously sick versus I got a headache. What do I do? Which cruise line's the best for couples? Why is Virgin better than or less than other cruise lines? Because let's face it, there is no perfect cruise. There's having realistic expectations to make a perfect cruise. Because if you go in with unrealistic expectations, it's not going to happen.
Well, and it goes both ways because if you go in with inflated expectations, you're
Hmm.
going to be disappointed too. So I've had good sailings on all of the cruise lines and I've had bad sailings on all the cruise lines. It depends on the crew, the itinerary, and the kind of people you're with. And that could really make or break it.
Absolutely. And one thing I love about Virgin, especially in the Caribbean, specifically when sailing from Miami, is the beach club at Bimini, and we're going to do a whole episode just on Bimini because it's not a private island, it's a private resort that Virgin has control over, and it's something very special that we're going to spend some time talking about.
We also want to bring you guys into the conversation. So ask us questions, follow us on social media, tell us your cruise stories. I want to do several AMAs where we bring your questions in and answer them live, or tell us your cruise horror stories so we can laugh at them. That sounds fun too.
We're going to be raw. We might drop some foul language because on Virgin, you're going to find out that foul language is literally part of the conversation. There's no sugarcoating. There's no cruise line propaganda. We are not paid by Virgin to do this. This is something that we wanted to do as your travel advisors and gold not first mates. I don't charge fees. I know Jen doesn't charge fees for booking cruises because that's not why you are chose to work with us. I consider myself an ambassador of the brand because I love the brand. I love telling people about it. Sometimes a little too much. But here we could talk about it till we're blue in the face or red in the face. I guess would be the better way to say it.
Yeah, and we want you to feel like when you're listening to this, you're talking to a friend who is obsessed with cruising, whether it's Virgin or any of the other lines that we're going to eventually talk about. We're also going to try and keep it real. We're going to let you know if something sucks. If the cruise line itself is overhyping something, we will let you know because there have been several times that I've seen that And I'm just like, why are you so excited about this? It's not that great. So we will call them out if we need to. But we also still make mistakes when we travel. And so we'll talk about that too when that happens, because we just want everyone to learn as much as we have over the years.
So I don't want to spend an hour telling you about one little aspect of the ship or tell you like this is how I pack my suitcase because that's personal to me. But I'll totally go over here's a suggested list of things that I bring as a guy, and Jen will say here's a bunch of stuff that I bring as a woman on a ship because that's important to see that I'm going to pack differently than you. And the more you cruise on a cruise line, the more you figure out little things about that cruise line that are different by line. Because, for example, you're not going to find a laundry room on a Virgin ship. They don't exist.
They do. You just don't have to do your own laundry.
Right. You need to go on at least 3 cruises and they start doing it for you.
And then it's free. Yeah. Speaking of all of this, let's talk about what we're not going to do. We're not going to tell you that cruising is for everybody because it's not. There are lots of people that it's just not their thing. We're also not going to pretend that everything's perfect because, like we've talked about, it's not. All right. So let's talk about what we've got coming up. What topic, Ross, are you most excited that we've got coming up?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? So obviously, I want to talk about red band versus black band and what the experiences are because it's gotten even more interesting in the last 90 days with the changing of the structure of cabins because it used to be
Yeah.
there were essentially 3 levels on Virgin. Now there's 5, and it can be very confusing. So we need to break that down. Um, I totally want to do a solo versus couples trip because I think it's important to do. And we've got to do our own version of restaurant week and the crawl, the bar crawl. I think those are 4 topics that I would love to do um, because I think those will be great topics to discuss.
Yeah. I'm also really
What about
excited
you?
about our solo episodes because while I go solo, um, usually I'm just in solo you're in like separate cabins with other friends on board. I've sailed the other cruise lines solo, but I would really excited to actually compare the Virgin solo experience to a Princess or Carnival or Celebrity Royal experience or solo experience. Um, I'm also excited to talk about um, what's new in cruising this year, how to take advantage of wave season because that's coming up. And I can tell you about all the deals I got last year for my trips this coming 2026. So hopefully
Absolutely.
you can take advantage of those too. And then what is the best process to working with a travel agent and take advantage of those deals too?
Right. And finding a reputable travel agent is really important. There are travel agents that turn and burn. Um, and we're never supposed to be more excited than our clients for the cruises. I know I am. And
I always
to me,
am.
I tell my clients like, and Jen, you have it interesting because you're on the West Coast, whereas I'm on the East Coast. So
Mhm.
you have that 3-hour buffer of time. But I have clients who have said, I don't know how to book my reservation. I said, no problem. I will be online with you at 12:05 a.m. booking with you. It's not a big deal to me. And,
Yep.
the very first thing I tell my clients are as soon as I put in the deposit, download the app immediately because
Mhm.
for Virgin, it is the most important thing you're going to do for your pre-cruising experience because it sets everything in motion with arrival.
Most of my clients don't hop online with me. I just do their bookings for them. But last night at 9 o'clock my time, I was on Zoom with a couple clients doing theirs, and they just told me what they wanted every day, and I was done in 5 minutes. It was great. So here is how you, the audience, can be a part of everything we're doing. Obviously, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. I don't listen to podcasts, I watch them. So we're also doing video podcasts if you're actually listening to this. We're going to drop new episodes weekly on Wednesdays. So you don't want to miss them and make sure you're subscribed.
And please feel free to show your friends, share them. And we're also, while we're going to vlog and podcast together, we also have our own separate accounts that we will put in our notes so you can connect to us solo. Jen's been vlogging a little longer than I have, so I will be starting up. I actually have my first cruise since we're starting this project in 3 weeks. I'm kind of excited about that because I'm going on a new cruise line. I've never been on NCL and I want to give it a shot because why not? and I'm going to be doing the adult solo experience on the ship because I want to see what that's like. And if you have ideas for topics, we want to hear them because we love Virgin, we love cruising, but someone's going to have what might seem like a crazy idea. No, let's talk about it. Because apparently they have these
Yep.
things on the cruise ship called gyms. I don't know who Jim is, but it sounds really interesting.
Only crazy people do that. Although I did walk into it last time. I walked in
Okay.
and I walked out.
I walked into there's a gym by the galley, if I'm not mistaken, or by a
Yep.
bar. I'm like, this is not a bar, and I might have been a little inebriated, just a little bit.
Yeah.
We also we were on an elevator once, and we're talking to guys, and they're wearing black polos. Now you know that black polo means crew, and I know that
Yeah.
too. But I'm like, oh, what are you on the ship? He's like, well, I'm the captain, so I kind of do everything. I'm like, my God, the captain. So I have a picture of them, and I saw the pictures the next day. I was so embarrassed. Oh, it was just
Boy.
beyond. It was great.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, send us your stories, send us your topics. You can DM us on Instagram at shiptalk.pod. We're also on TikTok with that same handle. So if you have a cruise debate you want us to settle or a topic you want us to cover or a funny story, let us know.
Please.
And if you're thinking about booking a cruise, like we said, we are actual travel agents, so you can plan your trip with us so there's no extra cost. We'll drop our contact info in the description for you to contact either one of us. All right. I think that's it for this intro episode. Um, Ship Talk with Jen and Ross. That's who we are. Your new favorite podcast about adult cruising on Virgin Voyages and more. Next episode, our first real episode, is going to be diving in with a cruise line comparison. So starting it off easy so you know what to expect before you pick a cruise line. You're not going to want to miss it.
Absolutely. That's it for our intro episode. Thanks for coming over and listening and watching Ship Talk. Happy travels.
Happy cruising, everybody!